And you've tested whether it's all working and recording, right?
I do that every time.
Yeah, I think it's a really easy thing.
Is that recording?
Oh, yeah, it's started. But like, I can cut it if we want.
This can just be like people's welcome to it if they're watching it on the internet.
That's true.
We are viral. Oh, that was our last episode. Wow, that was a while ago.
When was the last episode?
April 3.
Oh, wow. It's been at least 1 month since we recorded an episode.
That's not as long ago as it feels.
It feels like forever. So, like, for me, this is like therapy.
We're recording. For you, this is like therapy, you
Yes.
say?
Yeah, it is. Because I get so much out of it. And I felt so lost without anyone to share my rants with. And I tried so hard not to rant this morning with you, and then I couldn't hold it in.
What were you ranting about again?
That stupid exercise protocol.
Oh, from
OPEX.
OPEX. Yeah.
Because I rate OPEX.
Yeah.
And when I saw that post, I was like, oh, this is very clever when you sent it to me.
Mm.
So for those at home, the post was 5 rounds. So the protocol was 5 rounds of 5 different exercises. You do all 5 exercises with the rep scheme that's attached, and then on the after you finish the 5th exercise, you rest 2 minutes, and then you do it again, but on the next round, you change the order of the exercises. There's no specified order that you change it to, you just change it.
Mm. However, that may have been, this is where I guess
Context
is maybe if a coach, if they write that, maybe they're then saying this is, because they're all about coach education, right?
Yeah.
They then say do this, but then the coach would then program what the next round is supposed to look like rather than just allowing the athlete to do it randomly. Because I can see some benefit in it. So some of the movements, for example, were like wall balls, dumbbell thrusters, and burpee dumbbells. Dumbbell burpees. And depending on
those handstand push-ups as well.
And handstand push-ups.
And double unders.
Yes.
So that's all of them.
Or shoulders, yeah.
Yeah.
And depending on the ordering of those movements, you could do that much faster or much slower. So for example, if I put heavy dumbbell burpees at the start, you're probably going to get through that work significantly faster than if I put them at the very end when your heart rate's already jacked. Would that be reasonably fair to say?
Yeah, look, but that's my problem, is that the ordering plays such a role in it. And what did we work out?
You're getting different.
There's how many different variations that you can
120.
do? And it's only 5 rounds. If you were doing all 120, I'd be like, okay, it makes sense.
Yeah.
But you're just pick and choosing as you see fit. You're better off just writing it as single rounds. Like it's nothing. What I'm saying is they're acting like they're reinventing the wheel, and they're not. Like you can easily just be like, I need you to do 1 round of this, rest 2 minutes, then 1 round of this, then rest 2 minutes. Like I understand that like it's an easier way to write it potentially, but it just seems silly.
Yes. Yeah, I agree.
Oh, okay. But yeah, you like, but the worst is like, I was excited by it. I saw it and I was like, oh, this is really interesting.
Yeah.
Like, why have I never thought of it before?
Yeah.
And I was like, wait, this is the same as just doing single round bouts.
Yes, it is the same as doing single
So
round bouts.
like, really everyone has thought of it, because we often do that stuff, right?
Yes. Kind of.
Tell me more.
I see where they're getting at.
Like,
No,
disagree with me.
Let's introduce the episode.
Okay.
So, welcome guys to episode 29. We never made it to 30.
Really?
Yeah, no, we never made it to 30. Coronavirus hit, shut us down. Coronavirus, believe it or not, is still going on, despite the fact that some of us are acting like it isn't.
Yep.
Especially those in Melbourne. So yeah, here we
You're
are.
a security guard, shame on you.
Yep.
Or also kudos for doing what you do on your paycheck.
So yeah, we're back. Hopefully, we're going to try and make it a regular thing again, get back into doing it. As Andy was saying, this is his therapy, and I find it pretty therapeutic as well. I guess except for when I put my foot in it and get stressed about it for a week. So I think maybe we should visit the state of the world, at least briefly.
Yeah. So what's happened since
Our last episode.
Our last episode. So actually, we ended Uneducated Opinions on a very down note. Remember, we were really sad for all our competitions getting cancelled.
Yeah.
Can you see all these bugs around you?
Yes, but it's okay.
Are they also around me?
Yes, but the camera's not going to see it.
It's a thing with outdoor episodes that there are bugs everywhere all the time.
Especially when you decide to do it directly under trees and stuff.
Yeah, this was your idea.
No, it wasn't. Yeah, so when we left, everything was going wrong. So Down Under CrossFit Championships got cancelled. Arnold's got cancelled. And then
all the gyms closed.
All the gyms closed. Like, we were literally recording our last episode on the last day gyms were allowed to be open.
Yeah.
In Andy's space. However, on like some cool notes, Andy's space has moved.
Yeah, so we
so
moved
they're
Raw
in
Barbell. We have a new gym. We're
Yep.
within a bigger facility, Style 24/7 Fitness.
Yep.
So Style Fitness 24/7, and that's pretty cool. You and Ash, who coach at Raw Barbell, now take on a lot more coaching hours. You guys do a lot of the work. I kind of just sit there,
You're living the dream.
living the dream, but still on that security guard salary.
Hopefully not leading the same example, though.
Nah, none of the perks.
Yeah. Jesus.
All perks. Yeah, it's a weird situation we find ourselves in. I can't believe that we're still in a pandemic.
Yeah, I can't believe how well New Zealand seemed to get out of it.
Yes. Well, they're like us in that, surrounded by water. Like it's seemingly easier to control your borders, but they're smaller. So it's easier to get everyone in line when you have one state.
Yeah,
There's not
for
competing
sure.
interests. Like the more stakeholders you have, the harder it is to do
Yeah.
anything.
For sure. Do you think we're on our way back up in New South Wales?
It scared me when we had all those, like, the Crossroads stuff happen.
Yeah.
So, again, for those that don't know, there's a massive outbreak in Victoria.
For our overseas listeners.
For our overseas listeners, which is another state, a state that we're not in. And a couple of people, so they locked down the borders of that state, and they gave people 5 days notice that they were locking down borders. So there were a few people that scrambled, came across the border, and that's what caused our spike,
Yeah.
essentially, right? And
Or corn.
a what?
Or corn. Yeah, keep going.
That's such a nerdy thing to know.
Yeah.
And then because of that, we had a spike, and we have several hotspots here. So there's like Fairfield, Casula. I don't know what the rest
I don't
of
know
them.
where they are. Yeah.
But yeah, like
Bateman's Bay.
yeah, there's a few of them, and they all stem from that. But the thing is, like, we're worried in New South Wales is, are we going back into lockdown, or are we going to just be forced to wear masks everywhere? Like right now in Victoria, it's illegal not to wear a mask outdoors.
Yep.
As soon as you leave the house, you have to wear a mask, or you face a $200 fine
Yep. On the spot.
on the spot. So
I know I saw a post the other day that we've had a bunch of people given like penalty infringement notices in New South Wales as well for leaving isolation and all that stuff lately.
I mean, look, that's reasonable. I mean, and then there's a lot of confusion as well amongst like what the rules are regarding, getting tested and isolation. Because on one end, Gladys Berejiklian, God, I'm gonna get that wrong every single time. It's stated like if you get tested, you should still isolate 14 days, even if it's a negative test. But then I don't know if there's any official recommendation that says that. Like the point of getting tested is if you're negative,
you don't have
like
to isolate.
you don't have to isolate.
Otherwise, you may as well just isolate for 14 days.
Yeah, and not get tested.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of issues. I think this. I think you and me were talking. Actually, I'm curious on your opinion. What do you think personally of all the restrictions that have been put down from the powers that be, as far as so we can see a lot of the issue in the spike that the United States has seen is people not being willing to be restricted by the higher authorities. So what are your opinions on actually having those restrictions put in? Because I know on a lot of our past podcasts, you've always been someone that doesn't like the idea of being restricted and what we can do because you feel like it makes us a nanny state.
Yes, I agree. Like I've said stuff like that before. Like America's a weird place culturally, I think, because of how they were formed and how they gained their independence. So because of that, they've got this crazy amount of gusto behind like freedom. And like freedom for them was like the end of tyranny of like England, like the British Empire on them. Like they ended being a colonial state. But like they've taken that and rolled with it, I think, way too far.
Yeah.
To like freedom is like freedom from all kinds of like government intervention, which is kind of a bit crazy. And I know I go that way sometimes, but
a lot of the time.
A lot of the time. But like, I'd like to update you that I do have the COVID safe app.
Do you?
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm registered. Yeah. It crashes all the time, and I don't think it works very well, but I do have it, and I do believe in it.
Do you leave your Bluetooth on so that it works?
My Bluetooth is always on. I don't know if it's always working though, because I think it has to be on your screen with your phone unlocked, right?
Mine doesn't have to be.
Oh, okay.
But yours might have to be.
Yeah, I don't know. Apple's weird. But yeah, like it's a intriguing question. What did you think I would say?
I thought that you would say that you're okay with the shutdowns given the situation.
I am okay with the shutdowns given the situation.
Yes. But I also, and this leads me to my next point, that I think that this period of time has led a lot of people to be slightly hypocritical. Like I don't think there's many people that now getting to the back end of this are not contradicting themselves. Whether if that be, like if you use myself as an example, being a little bit strict on the rules to begin with, like being maybe hyper strict on the rules with social distancing and limiting the amount of people that I interact with and all those sorts of things, trying to do what I consider to be my part with stopping the spread, and maybe at the expense of some personal arguments with other people. But then now, as this is going on, what they want is still, the recommendation is still to maintain that social distancing, limit the amount of people that you interact with if you can, and that sort of started to go out the window. So I sort of started to contradict myself towards the back end. And I don't know whether if everyone else is like that as well, just from fatigue of 12 weeks of being rigid on it, or whether if we're just all hypocrites.
Yeah, I think there's a couple of things going on. One is like we have a lot more data now that we can trust. It's pretty evident that the information we were given at the start of this was not always accurate. Like there was, information.
There's also only recommendations and not rules.
Yeah, well, I'm even just saying, like, when you have like the largest bodies like World Health Organization saying you don't need masks, and they're saying that just because there's a shortage of masks, but then that is not true, and that masks actually do help if they're used properly. Like that's a pretty big stuff up. And it really gives you less faith in those kind of governing bodies. Same thing with what they said here with masks. I mean, there are masks do help prevent the spread, but you have to use them properly. If you touch your face when you have a mask on, you're better off just taking it off and chucking it out or putting it in the wash straight away or whatever. So like, there's that. I think I just went on a tangent without actually answering what you said.
Yeah, you did, but that's okay.
What was the
Let's
question?
circle back to has everyone been a hypocrite?
Oh, yeah. Has everyone been a hypocrite? Yeah, I'm the same. I was super strict when we closed down first.
Yeah.
I didn't want to do anything. I didn't go out. I felt really uncomfortable, like even just going out to get food. I just basically sheltered at home the whole time. And then now I'm out with you,
Back to running a gym.
and it's so weird because at the same time, like, there's a martial arts studio right behind us, and they're practicing full contact rolling,
Yeah.
and then we're not allowed to share barbells. And I think to myself,
Well, like rugby and stuff's allowed to go back to full
rugby's
contact
back,
training.
you know, full contact training. You're definitely going to get spit, blood, sweat, everything all over each other.
Yeah.
And then, you know, we have rules that seem archaic for that purpose.
Yes, for sure.
So I think it seems like sometimes there's no rhyme or reason to the rules, and that's why we're acting as hypocrites, because some of the rules don't make sense to us.
Yeah, for sure.
Was that a better way of answering that?
Yeah, that makes sense. I think there was just there was picking and choosing.
Yes. But I think we pick and
Of
choose
what suit.
only because some of the rules seem silly
Yes, for sure.
comparatively to others. Other rules seem really safe, like don't go to nursing homes. I mean, that should be a rule.
Yeah, don't go to nursing homes.
Don't go to nursing homes.
But there was even ones like, if I were to take an example, like I didn't go to a particular dinner.
Yes, I remember this, and I figured that's what you were talking about.
Yeah, that was what I was talking about. But then that was just a recommendation, right? Like it wasn't a rule at that point. It was a recommendation. But then you get later on, and people that were like going to dinners and stuff would then like get annoyed because there was a rule that said no regional travel.
Yeah.
They would get annoyed at you for going out to a farm to hunt for a weekend because there was no regional travel allowed. And you're like, and that's where I'm picking and choosing the rules, right? Like I'm going in my head, I shouldn't crowd in a group.
Yeah.
And even though there's no regional travel allowed, I'm literally going to go and see no one.
Yeah.
And just walk around 5,000 hectares by myself.
Yeah, well, it's like, are you following the letter of the law or are you following the spirit of the law?
Yeah.
Right? And
Yeah.
like in the sense of you going to a rural area to spend time alone, you're following the spirit of the law,
Yeah.
but you're not following the letter of the law.
Yes.
Whereas in the other one, you're following the letter of the law, but you're not following the spirit of the law.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think that's pretty good, like,
Way of putting it?
Yeah, distinguishing.
Well, there's even any of the rules, I don't know if it still is this way, but when it all first came out, it was officer's discretion as far as
Yes.
finding was. So like,
So that's something that I have a problem with.
that's something you have a problem with?
Yeah.
That's taking out completely what you just said though.
No, I'm saying I have a problem with someone who is not at a high level of potential capacity to make those decisions, giving them the power over us as a nanny state. That's how you end up with a George Floyd situation, by giving people too much power over the letter and the spirit of the law together.
Yeah, but if you don't have someone who's in charge of making that distinguishment, then you need to go to the letter of the law, and then the spirit of the law doesn't get involved at all. Like, because if you go no grey area at all, then going out to hunt by yourself is illegal,
Yeah.
and you'll be fined $1,000 for it. But going to a party with less than 10 people, you won't be fined for. Whereas if you allow a bit of a spirit of the law, you're going out to hunt by yourself for a week with no one else around, that police officer is going to pull you over, and in spirit of the law, because there's discretion allowed, they have the ability to go, it's not the letter of the law, but you're doing the right thing, off you go.
Yeah, I get that. I just worry. And let me clarify, like I mentioned, like the George Floyd situation, that is like a extremely gruesome abuse of power. And what we're actually talking about is like a very minor variance that could either be like abuse of power or like not actually using your powers enough, right? Like, I guess it all, again, it just comes down to like the officer's discretion is scary for me, because like I haven't had great experiences with police in the past as well. But like I could see, like, if you're not doing anything wrong, if you're treating the police officer with respect, that you could, like, it's not going to end badly.
It shouldn't.
It shouldn't end badly, yeah.
Mm.
But the fact that it can end badly, or like you can end up with a big fine for like no reason, is still scary to me. And I've also had great experiences with police when I was younger too. So like, I don't know. I'm just scared. Very.
I think people get it. I think the problem a lot of the time is that people get themselves on the back foot too early.
Yeah.
And police make this issue as well. Like, Dad has said to me 1,000 times before, like, so many arguments with the public could have been avoided by like not going straight to your powers, which is like, no, I am allowed to ask you for this, so like you're going to give it to me, sort of thing, rather than just starting a conversation and then asking the question before going to your powers, if that makes sense. Like, yeah.
I remember
There's no one actually has great interpersonal skills. Like, if everyone had awesome interpersonal skills,
you wouldn't have any problems.
you wouldn't have any problems. But
Are you saying the key to all our issues is communication?
yeah. Yes, that's exactly what I'm saying. Like, if police didn't get lazy with the way they did their job because they've been in it for 5, 10 years, 20 years.
And they're working like ridiculous hours
Yeah.
and potentially like under the gun for like
Yeah.
stress.
And just
whatever.
start being, hey, you come here, rather than, hey sir, how you going? Like, you mind if we have a quick chat? I just want to ask you about something that happened down the road, rather than, hey mate, come here, sit on the curb. And then if at that, every now and then you probably do have a situation where a police officer comes up and goes, hey mate, how you going? Having a good day, da 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 da. And someone gets straight on the back foot and goes, I'm not fucking talking to you. Fuck off.
Yes.
And then of course I'm going to go straight to my powers and be like, sit on the fucking curb.
Yeah.
Like, because what other option have you given me?
Yeah, none. Yeah, no, I completely agree. And I do want to, look, there was a time when I was like 16, 17 years old. I was at a park like this, probably at like 12 o'clock in the night with a couple of friends. We were smoking a shisha, and at one stage, obviously like the shisha or agile or whatever you want to call it has the coal on top. And like we were done with it, so we just started throwing it in the air. So you just have this like basically ball of fire flying through the air. And this group of police officers came, and this was like outside Castle Towers back before.
Before the station was there.
Yeah, booze bands and stuff like that. And I remember the police came, and they were like, "Hey, what's that?" And we're like, "Oh, it's agile, it's tobacco." They're like, "Oh, cool. Do you mind not throwing that?" And we're like, "Okay." And they're like, "All right, carry on." And they left. Like, I've had amazing experiences with police where they've treated us with respect, and we've just been left in awe at the fact that we didn't get in trouble for like some pretty dumb stuff that we were doing.
Yeah.
Right? So like they've been amazing times, and they've obviously also been like times where
I was driving, just a funny experience with the shisha. I was driving back from the South Coast on the weekend, and on my way back, we were driving past this soccer field, and I've looked out in the soccer field. There's a whole team of people training, and then there's one of the team members just sitting in the center of the field with the shisha, getting it ready for after training. And I was like, fucking a bit of a waste of time, isn't it? But I was like, Jesus.
so some people love it, right? Like there's some cultures that absolutely adore using it.
So you have quite an educated opinion, I think, or a self-educated opinion on this particular topic. And if you want to share it for me. What is our...
I'm very pro-abortion. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah. What is our solution then to the situation we find ourselves in? Obviously we can't...
The pandemic? A vaccine?
No. No, the situation we find ourselves in America in particular, post-George Floyd issue,
Yeah.
the incident. What is our solution? We can't not have police. So what is the plan that needs to go in place moving forward to fix some of the issues that we have?
I think there needs to be some sort of like major, and a big part of the problem is this can't physically happen in this current climate. It's like you'd want to have some sort of major congregation where some civilian representatives, government representatives, as well as representatives of the police force from all over the country could come together and draft some sort of action plan moving forward that everyone was happy. Obviously, there'd be some concessions, there'd be some wins for all parties involved, but that would be the only way I see forward of like people getting somewhat what they want. And again, it all comes down to exactly what you said before. It's communication.
Yes, for sure. Interesting.
Does that
Yeah.
kind of answer?
But what is the plan that gets put in place?
I think there has to be an understanding of what has happened to like minorities in general, but also like in particular like the black population within America, because they are a displaced people, but they don't have anywhere else to go.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like you can be like, okay, go back to Africa. Like, they were brought there. They're not Africans.
Yeah.
They're Americans.
Yeah.
And historically, there is just so much hardship placed there. There has to be an understanding of that and some sort of reconciliation of, like, not like a financial remuneration or anything, but like there needs to be some sort of recognition of that by both the government and the police force and everyone. And then on the police's terms, there needs to be understanding of like, one, how difficult that job is, because it is a hard job. And then also like what training that they're under, and potentially there needs to be extra training involved in, I guess, what's it called when there's a fight brewing and you pull it back?
Disarm.
No, like it'd be like de-escalating. Yeah, like more training on de-escalation. And there should be also more accountability for the police as well. Like, what happened is a travesty to George Floyd, but there were like 5 police officers there, right?
And no
like,
one did
why wasn't one of them at least being like, hey, let's, get your knee off this guy's neck. You're killing him. He's crying. He's calling out for his dead mother.
Yeah.
Like, it's fucking gross that happens. But like, it can also happen on like smaller and smaller scales. Like, that's just the, epitome of like how crazy it can get. And then on the government side, they've got to bring those two parties together and be like, look, we understand you are not happy. We understand you're not happy. Our job here is to be the voice of both of you. What can we do to help? Instead of being like, no protests. Well, you can protest.
Yes.
And, and it is messy because we're in a pandemic where you physically can't bring those parties. You can't do this over Zoom. So much of communication is just like feeling the auras of people, So,
yes, for sure. Yeah, I agree.
Speaking of communication, have you watched the latest Two Bears?
No, I haven't watched it yet.
I'll listen to it.
No, not the one that came out today.
Okay, so...
Oh, yesterday, sorry.
So we listened to this podcast, Two Bears, One Cave. Tom Segura and Bert Kreischer. It's the most useless thing I've ever listened to. But...
It is hilarious.
It is so funny, and like, you won't learn anything at all. In fact, you might get dumber watching and listening to it. But in the last episode when Nadav was like, I need time off?
Yeah.
So they record that on Monday.
Yeah.
And then Tuesday they record your mum's house.
Yeah.
So on Tuesday he just didn't show up. So it wasn't like, Tom saying, yeah, let's talk about not having time off was just like permission to him, and he just didn't show up on Tuesday and was gone for like 3-4 days.
Yeah.
Without like picking up his phone or anything, and then came back, and apparently like he went away, went to casinos and lost like, 10 grand. And like, I don't think that guy's all right.
No, probably not.
But I just listened to it and I was like, what the fuck? And I thought you'd find that
But
really
he was
funny.
back for the last episode.
Yeah. So he's come back, but he disappeared, and he's back in this episode as well.
Interesting.
Yeah, because I listened to them like they hammered him on
Two bears.
on your mum's house about him just leaving and using that as permission. Like, who does that? That'd be like you going, like, hey, can I have a week off next week? And I'd be like, okay, let's talk about it off air, not on air, and then you just not showing up without any
further discussion.
Yeah.
Can I have a week off next week?
I guess.
But that's basically what Tom did, right? Like, he was like, yeah, take your days off, whatever. Like, take your days off.
Yeah, but it's on air. Like,
yeah, I know. Yeah. So dumb. Well, but I messaged you after I listened to that one, and I was like, I would have fired him for bringing that up on air.
Yes, that's why I brought it up as well, because
I've been like, that's like so dumb as an employee. Like, just use your brain, man. Come on.
But I guess you don't know what the actual dynamic is.
No. Yeah.
You know what I mean? It'd be like,
he doesn't sound like an intelligent person, though.
Yeah. I mean, do any of them sound like an intelligent?
I think Tom's secretly probably pretty bloody smart. Do you get that sense?
I feel like yeah. I do think they're smart. Like, everyone has like a certain level of intelligence regarding their craft. But like,
no, I think Tom's smart.
I don't know how Bert functions.
Oh, I know. I don't know how he's still alive. Bert, Jesus. Like, seriously, this guy is an absolute idiot.
But like, one of the funniest humans I've ever... Like, we
Idiot.
went and watched him live.
Yeah.
And it was... Oh, you didn't come to that one?
No.
But he was amazing.
Did Daniel Sloss get cancelled?
I don't know. I didn't go though.
Okay.
Wait.
You had tickets.
Then it did get cancelled.
Yeah, okay. Has it happened yet?
I don't know.
It would have been cancelled now because he's coming over from the UK, right? So there's no way he's getting over here. But
I forgot about that. Yeah, because right before I should have gone to when Eliza Schlesinger was here. That would have been a good one too. Have you watched any of her stand-up?
No. Do you have any Australian comedians that you actually enjoy?
I like Frenchie.
Do you?
Yeah.
Oh, I think he's...
You think he's gross?
Yeah.
Yeah, I also think that.
I just don't think he's clever.
I think he can be funny.
Yeah.
What about Jim Jeffries? Isn't he Aussie?
Yeah, Jim Jeffries is funny. But again, Jim Jeffries had like a breakout bit, which was like the gun control bit, and everyone went, oh my God, he's fucking hilarious. And then like a lot of his other stuff isn't that great.
Yeah, okay.
Like, it's good, but it's not like...
Isn't Hannah Gatsby Australian as well?
Yeah, I've never watched any of her stuff. No. But then there's other people, like, do you find Nikki Glazer's special funny?
Yeah.
Yeah, I found about the first 25 minutes of it's funny.
And
then I felt like it was just the same jokes happening again.
I feel like I'm very easily impressed though. When it comes to comedians. Like, no, there are some comedians I don't like.
Yes. You know what they said on that podcast I was listening to yesterday, I was telling you about, the Whiskey Ginger one? He was talking to another comedian, Fitzharris, whatever his name, Norm Fitzharris maybe.
Yeah.
And he was saying that comedy has gotten to a point now where, like especially in film, where obvious humour is the only funny thing. So like almost people only enjoy like almost slapstick style humour, and the subtle joke has like disappeared. Like there's no, like if you were to release a Blues Brothers now, like with very subtle humour but hilarious, but subtle, then it wouldn't go well.
Yeah, Blues Brothers is one of my favourite movies.
But it's not like, not a lot of it is like
funny,
obvious jokes, right? Like it's stuff that you have to actually have some level of focus to pick up on the fact that that was actually funny.
I mean, a lot of dark comedies are like that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Like it's, unless it's like 21 Jump Street, it's lost on people, right?
Yeah, for sure. And that's what I think is...
My name's Jeff. Which, I mean, there's a place for that.
My name's Jeff. Yeah. I think that, like, I send you some of those Batuta Advocate articles.
Yeah.
And I was having this discussion with a friend ages and ages ago. And she was like, I was like, do you find Batuta Advocate funny? And she was like, yeah. And she's like an extremely intelligent person. And I said to her, sometimes I feel like when I send Batuta Advocate articles to people thinking that they're going to enjoy it, and they're like, I just don't find any of that stuff funny. I'm like, I think you lack the intelligence to actually understand why it's funny.
Yeah. I guess, yeah.
Like they don't have the capacity to understand the satire.
Or the capacity to understand the context of the situation.
Yes, that's the other thing.
Going around it. like going around the topic. Like for example, like you send like a Batuta Advocate article from 3 months ago at today, like it's potentially not funny at all.
Yes, correct.
But
Yeah,
it's
because
funny like
at the time.
right at the time.
Yeah, for sure. Like there was even like a funny one was like
But that's memes as well.
yeah, it was one that was like an Instagram post from a local tradie, and he was like, today local tradie lets everyone know that this is today's office kind of thing, and it's him on top of a roof like looking out at the ocean or something, out of beachfront view. And like some people are like, I don't find that funny. I'm like, do you not get that Snapchat like every Friday morning from your mate that's like today's office? Like it's hilarious.
It is. Yeah, I mean like that's a trope that we do.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Like when I do aquaria work, I'm guilty of that. Like if I was doing that job in Lavender Bay still, I would definitely post that.
Yeah.
View from work.
Bridge.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was a good one.
No, it's underneath the harbour bridge.
Oh, okay. Well, it was Gladesville Bridge, the one I was talking about. I don't know where it was ages ago, but I remember figuring out exactly where it was.
Oh, maybe it was underneath the Gladesville bridge. I don't know.
I don't know.
But yeah, like I would definitely do that, and that's hilarious. See, I guess that one doesn't need context because like every tradie is like that we know.
Every tradie is like that. Yes.
How much time do we have left?
Except maybe Shannon.
Yeah, Shannon does Snapchat.
Does he? Are you hungry?
Huh?
Are you hungry?
I could eat.
Then we probably have 10 minutes before we need to go get food.
Okay, sweet.
Cool.
Let's talk about training a bit.
Okay.
Because
Torian got cancelled. I feel like everything is being cancelled. I'm so sick of it. I'm almost thinking about throwing in the towel.
Okay, so so when you, if a lot of people that listen to this, they are interested in training, and my advice for you is at home is if you want to compete, pick a sport that has like a high amount of control over its athletes, as well as spectating population, as well as like its ability to sanitize like workspaces. So, for example, like Olympic weightlifting. Olympic weightlifting, there is one barbell. Every single athlete can have their own warm-up platform. You can have everyone having their own plates, whatever. And then on top of that, we never have spectators anyway.
Yeah.
So you have no problems there.
Weightlifting's going to boom after this. Weightlifting's going to be as big as soccer.
Yeah, so like right now, weightlifting has gone back. I'm pretty sure powerlifting has gone back. But things like strongman, things like CrossFit, like I think we're a bit away from being able to do them.
But I don't understand why they couldn't. I understand that they're preempting.
A lot of shut down again.
They're preempting a shutdown again.
I think they're preempting travel issues.
They're preempting not being able to do Torian in December, right? The final.
Yeah.
Now, they never get international people except for the one time that they've got thrown in to come and do it because he was friendly with Royce. That's the only reason they got it to happen, right? But almost everyone has access to a gym at the moment now. Like most people,
unless you're in Victoria.
Unless you're in Victoria, I guess that's part of it as well, right? Like Victorian athletes aren't going to be able to do it, so that takes out. Oh no, Newbury's not. Yeah, Newbury. That takes out like your Newburys and.
Newbury's in South Australia.
Oh, South Australia. He is South Australia. So it doesn't really take out anyone of any importance that I know of. No, but it's just frustrating to be like, let's start peaking towards Down Under. Let's start peaking towards the Open. That's going to get moved as well. Okay, let's do Torian and give yourself something that's only 4 weeks ago a way to peak towards, and now we're cancelling that as well. And it's like I feel like we've gone like up, down, up, down, up, down, and just riding this wave, and it's just getting so frustrating to the point where you're almost like, do I just go to training 3 days a week for a little while and just focus on work and uni and wait till shit goes back to normal? But then the other side of the coin is I'm like, are a lot of people going to do that? And when I come out of this, can I put myself in a position where I'm going to be one of the top dogs because I've been on top of my game this whole time? Yes. And I think that's a good question too. Also, I have gone the whole fucking month of July without a beer because I wanted to be prime for the Torian qualifier, and now it got cancelled. Fuck.
Like, I think it's important to say that, like, as a friend, I'm like so proud of you. Like, just like it's not everyone.
Andy thinks I have an actual addiction.
It's not everyone that can get repeated beatdowns like that. You know, like training for a comp, cancelled. Training for a comp, cancelled. And at the end of it, say that they're sober. It's quite amazing, and I'm very proud.
You really went the opposite way to what I went there. I was actually listening to a Rogan podcast this morning with. You should listen to this one, by the way.
Yeah.
It's with a guy named Andrew Huberman.
I listened to the Rhonda Patrick one, and
Yeah.
I'm now on 4,000 IU of vitamin D a day.
Are you? Yeah. There you go. You went right to the upper limit. Yeah. I should also do that.
I mean, I'm dark skinned. Like, I definitely, I mean, when I've got blood tests, I am.
Vitamin D deficient.
Yeah.
Where'd you get your what vitamin D supplement are you taking?
I'll take a picture of it when I get home.
Okay. Cool.
It's
I
just a chemist.
would like to get some as well. I need to do it as well because I feel like in the climate I'm spending a lot of time inside. But the Andrew Huberman, he's a neurobiologist and neurochemist, and his research area is like on brain states. So like just talking about like being fatigued, being pumped up, being relaxed, being whatever, being aroused. And you can't use that word and not fucking have someone giggle. And he's talking. I think you would find it really interesting because he's talking about dopamine release, and he was saying that a lot of science is pointing towards in something like comedy, like what you just did to me then, is purely by surprising someone by going the opposite direction to what they thought you were going to go with the joke. It's not actually that the joke is funny as such, but the surprise reflex forces an instant release of dopamine in the brain. The fact that you went, oh shit, that's not where I thought that was going to go. And dopamine makes you up, makes you happy. So it's almost like just purely the fact that you've surprised me makes me more likely or more subject to finding that joke funny just because of the dopamine response as well, which was really quite interesting. I think you should listen to it. I think you'll enjoy it.
I will. I'll listen.
And to answer our question from the other day, norepinephrine and noradrenaline is the exact same thing.
Okay.
You know how we were like, I think it's different. Why would they have two that are named the same? He explained it. They're exactly the same things. One of them was discovered by a lab in the UK. One of them was discovered by a lab in Australia at almost the same time, and they both gave it different names. So now there's just an argument as to who discovered it first and which name they should use.
Oh, I see.
That's
Man,
where the two
science
names
is
came
weird.
from. It's so stupid, man. It's so stupid. But that being said,
But you get it, right?
I do get it.
Yeah,
I get
like
it 100%.
you want-
like
you
if you
want the
came up with
credit.
a new training protocol.
Yeah, like that stupid one that OPEX made up.
Yeah. Yeah. Like if you came up with a new training protocol, say you came up with the next CrossFit or whatever, and someone else in the States came up with it as well, of course you're going to push for it to have the name that you coined it.
Norma size.
Yeah, normal size. Yeah. I think we can probably round it out there.
All right, guys, you can find me at Train with Andy on my Instagram. You can find Steve Norman at Steve_concept_performance on
Nice.
Instagram.
He remembered.
Of course I remember.
I changed it.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
Yeah, you cannot find him at Steve Norman
Yes.
250 anymore.
Do not look for me at Steve Norman 250 anymore.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You want to tell people that you have a new programming business?
Yeah, sure. So if you are looking for some sort of remote programming, you can hit me up on Instagram, Steve_concept_performance. I'm trying to build a bit of a remote client base. I will try and get face-to-face with anyone that I can that's sort of in the area once the COVID stuff starts to die down. But I guess the whole focus of it is if you are looking for someone who knows what they're talking about in either the sports-specific or CrossFit realm, I might be your guy, especially if you don't have someone that you have direct access to. The whole thing that I am trying to pride that business on is getting as close to having a one-on-one personal coach with you without actually having to have it. So can I get to the point where you guys basically feel like you have a PT watching you every time you train, even though we're on opposite ends of the state or world? That's basically the idea of it. So whether that be with constant checkups every week, film review, phone calls, Zoom chats, anything like that, I'm working on those things, and yeah, I have plenty of space. So if you're interested, shoot me a message and we'll chat about it.
Cool. And guys, you can find Uneducated Opinions on all of our social medias. So that's YouTube, Instagram, I think that's it actually.
Facebook.
Oh, Facebook
We are on
as well.
Facebook, but it doesn't really get used. Instagram, if you go on, you'll see that our last post was like April 5. So I'll try and get back on top of that now. Now that I'm back on top of my own Instagram, maybe it'll be easier to get on top of that as well.
Well, how useful was the shoot for just having content
Yes,
now?
so useful. I need to be careful about not posting it day in, day out though. Does that make sense? Because otherwise you're going to go like photo shoot. Like I want to spread them so that I have them for 12 months.
Yes. Yeah. Well, we can always just do another photo shoot.
That's true.
But also, if we do more videos and stuff, we can start using that as well.
Anyway, guys, this is now becoming just a private conversation. So thanks for listening, guys. Make sure if you are watching on YouTube, make sure you subscribe and hit that little notification bell so you do get updates when we start doing videos again, hopefully in pretty consistently from now. And yeah, if you have any questions, hit us up or give us a shout out. Thanks, guys. Bye.